Going on YouTube, Clover here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of tournament analysis. We're going to be looking at the Spear Pillar online tournament from this past weekend. Almost about 170 players. That's a lot. So this is the largest online tours since Dortmund, right? We've had a couple of other tours. I think there was like at least two that had, at least 100 plus, but this is the most since Dortmund, which was a week ago. So, again, it's always good to look at stuff in hindsight of a big regional, because then you can see a little bit more meta development, especially when there's a regional that's shortly afterwards, right? So if you're going to Louisville, this is one of those tours that you're going to want to see and take a look at first, because again, just a lot of players and a lot of teams that are being used. And hopefully we can make it easier for you guys just in terms of what is good right now today, what is maybe not so great, and what you can do or what should you play going into Louisville. All right, so we're going to take a look at the teams. We're going to note some of the niche options, of course, and maybe we can give a little bit of advice, moving forward as we get closer into Louisville. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. So in terms of the victors, so number one, first place here, 11-2 from DT Link. It's Archaludon Rain, so no surprise here. It's still very, very strong, guys. And what's really cool about Archaludon Rain is that there's so many variants that you can play with this thing, and they're all like good in their own way. The pieces are different, which gives you some options that you may not have depending on if you had those pieces or not. But as far as like the heart and core of the team, it's still going to be Archaludon. You still have the Pelipper. You still have the Amoonguss, for example, or even the Basculegion. And then after that, your last couple slots are some variants. I've seen the Screens variant, with Grimmsnarl and even the Sinistra for healing instead of the Amoonguss. I've seen the secondary Dragon mode where you have something like a Salamence or a Garchomp here, where you can just Terra Grass over here and just hit yourself with Earthquake and then give yourself the stamina boost for your body press. I've seen Snarl Archaludon over Flash Cannon. That's another thing you can do. I've seen another Steel type here, like for example, Goldengo or King Gambit in place of the maybe even something like the Incineroar here. So lots of different ways you can use it, but the point is it's still a very strong archetype. The core is the same, but the pieces are, the supporting pieces are a little bit different. So if you really want to play something heading into Louisville, I think Archaludon Rain is quite good. There was a cool variation that I wanted to pinpoint over here. It's down here, 7-3, and it also has a Volcarona here. I've seen some Volcarona on Rain teams here, but look at this. The Basculegion is Choice Scarf with Soak over here, and that is kind of cool because if you think about it, Soak has three uses here. First, you soak something, and then you can click Electro Shot into it, which is funny. Then you can Grassy Glide or Wood Hammer if something is soaked. That's also pretty cool. Then you can even Giga Drain it if you have to, with your Volcarona. So lots of cool options here, and this is opting for the Murkrow over the Pelipper here. So you get a Prankster Tailwind Setter. You still have Quash here for a little bit of speed control. You don't have the Amoonguss anymore. But overall, just another way to really play the Archaludon team. And look, this is Power Herb Protect. No Assault Vest because the Assault Vest is here on the Rillaboom. So this is what I'm talking about. Like at the heart of it, you still have Arc. You still have Basculegion. You even still have a Mousehole over here. But some of these surrounding pieces are a little bit different. And that kind of changes the way how you play the team a little bit. But at the same time, it's so flexible. You can really just mix and match a lot of these pieces depending on your own playstyle. But other than that, again, Arc Rain still very, very good. Even the ones that didn't quite top cut are still like pretty solid here. Like even this one down here, I think it's more or less the Annihilate version. Like this also is still like quite good. So again, Pelipper, Archaludon, Amoonguss. But what's interesting here is that this has a double weather mode with the Alolan Ninetales with Aurora Veil. So that gives you some ideas into, how you can maybe move forward with Archaludon. Maybe you might even consider this double weather idea. And again, the Ninetales is picking up in usage a little bit. And I'll speak about this in another timestamp in this video. But again, if you can just put, Mousehole, Annihilate, and Archaludon behind screens like Grimmsnarl can, then they become hard to break and it's easier to set them up. Especially when you have redirection from the Amoonguss over here. So, and at the end of the day, you still have weather control over, the Tyranitar and the Torkoals, right? So, this is also something that you can even think about moving forward. So, cool job from Snap, too. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to do, like, double weather. But if you know how to pilot it, then it still works. All right, so let's move on and let's take a look at some other teams. Okay, the P2 Balance teams with Garchomp are also still very, very strong right now. So the core of the team, again, features Garchomp with Porygon-2 over here with a Terra Blast, Terra Ground, Terra Flying, Terra Fighting, whichever Terra you want to use the Porygon with. And then, of course, you have the Vivillon with the compound eyes, you know, giving you nice strong accuracy with stuff like Sleep Powder and even Hurricane over here, right? And then you still have Rage Powder at the end of the day with the Focus Sash. Sometimes you could even see the Talonflame come out here in place of the Vivillon here, along with the Porygon-2. So you get the Tailwind Tricker mode. But at the same time, you know, again, it's just all about how do you want to build your surrounding pieces, you know, with these two. Okay, you start with these two, and then from there, where do you want to take the team? So if we take a look at the tour, okay, look at some of these Garchomp teams. First of all, Garchomp is rising in usage. Like, that's a very good positive rate over there. Well, I should say like very good. It's still like solid, right? So let's look at this one. So this one actually has Bolt. So what is this? Battle of Jam here. So you got Talonflame, you've got Garchomp. You already know what that can do, right? Earthquake next to a flying type here. Same thing with Dragonite over here. Then you have the Vivillon over here. So no P2 in this sense, but you still have Goldango coming out here. So like Chomp, Dragon type, Tailwind Setter, and then Goldango. This kind of core is still going to be good moving forward. And now, again, over here, you still have the Primarina to give you Haze because, again, there's still lots of setup moving around. So Haze is still like very, very strong. So that's something that you can consider. But other than that, you still have some of the more standard stuff. Here's the P2 Vivillon idea with Goldango. So you could still do something like this. And even though there's no secondary dragon, it's not necessarily needed. Goldango, along with the Vivillon, you know, just redirection support, and then even the P2 controlling the pace with Chirkum is quite nice here. And then you still have good old Incineroar to come in, you know, fake out pressure, parting shot, damage mitigation. You know, make sure you're in like a decent position to come in and do the job that it needs to do. So that's still like pretty solid. Then as you go down here, where is the other one? I'm trying to look for it. Oh yeah, this one is still like essentially the same as the other one, right? So like even though this one was 5-2, I'm sorry, 5-3, and this one was like 8-2, they're still like essentially the same kind of team. So, you know, you just have to keep that moving forward. But again, this kind of idea is just not going anywhere. So if you still need some kind of P2 balance team, you could still play the Garchomp Vivillon balance, or you can still, you know, alter it and just go with something like this, where you have the Incin, okay, you have the Amoonguss, and then you have stuff like the Ursaluna, and then you can still do stuff with the Flamingo here, right? So this is another way that you can also consider with the Porygon, and then again, we'll add the Goldango over here. So you don't have to go the Garchomp variant, right? If you still want your ground type like this, you can still do the Ursaluna stuff. And again, this is still like pretty good even right now. So if you just take a look at, you know, what was being used, like again, P2 win rate is still like pretty solid. Like it's all Flamingo balance. Look at this, like all of it, right? Maybe just one or two pieces are different, but overall it's still like more or less the same kind of team. So again, here's like the classic one where, you know, again, like I said, the Goldango Flamingo stuff, we already know what this stuff can do. This is still going to be good moving forward, but then you get some variants, right? Just depending on how you want to play certain teams. Like even this one right here. So like you still have Incin, Amoonguss, the P2 idea, and then instead of the Ursaluna, you still have Garchomp here, and then here's Sneasler. I believe this was Maddie's team here, but again, at the same time, you know, just the pieces may be slightly different, but at the heart of the core, the team itself, it still like plays more or less the same way. Like here's another one, right? So even though this was 3-5, and this is still like another good way to look at it, where you have like Dragapult, Sneasler, and then you have the big four over there. So like again, this is still like also pretty good. I again, this player did not play well, but I still like that 6 at the end of the day. I still think it can do well. I've seen it do well. So yeah, that's another way that you can also consider playing it. Even this one right here, right? This was Dawei's team from Baltimore. This kind of idea still works if you want to do like P2 screens with the Ursaluna instead. That's also totally fine. And then even this one. So like Blood Moon hasn't really gotten that much usage as of late. It's still like a good mon. You know, you can hit ghost types, which is great. You know, just like scrappy abilities. But it has taken a little bit of a step back. But again, you know, with the Trick 'em Up, then you can still put it in a position where it can just sweep teams ideally, right? Because it puts on a ton of pressure at the end of the day. So this is another cool team from Scotty. So shout out to Scotty for doing a cool job with that kind of P2 team. I want to spotlight Poliwrath here in this type of tour. Again, we did have this video a couple of vids ago where we did look at Poliwrath overall, and it's actually an interesting mon when you think about it. So let's look at the second place team from Hudson Show. So they were using Polyrath Rain, and look at this. This is the Belly Drum Liquidation Drain Punch set that we kind of showed you in that video also, just like momentarily. But, you know, Poliwrath is strong. If you can set up its Belly Drum, even if you intimidate it once or even twice, it's still going to do like a lot of damage because it still has, at the end of the day, +4 if you're even able to intimidate it twice. So it's got hard-hitting liquidations, it's got hard-hitting drain punch, which again, fighting coverage very good right now, especially again for your King Gambits, your Archaludons, the Terra Steel Goldangos for that matter. It's still very good. And then, you know, just adding Sneasler to this with the Swords Dance idea, where now you can just set this up with either Amoonguss or even Fake Out with Rillaboom. This is also interesting in itself. So you have Fake Out and Redirection to either set up the Belly Drum or the Sneasler. And then you can even set up your Goldango. So lots of setup here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 Pokemon setting up. Okay. I think that's a little too much, but it still works. My limit is always like 2. But I think this is still like fine. Because again, you still have Tailwind support here from the Pelipper. So, and then at the end of the day, you still have Swift Swim Poliwrath. So even when you combine Swift Swim and Tailwind against another team that just only has Tailwind, the Poliwrath will win that mirror matchup. And then you just make trades and just start KOing things that are still faster than some of your other options besides the Poliwrath. So you have to think of it like that. So this is pretty cool. And then this one was the other one that we kind of previewed from the regional. Again, Garchomp with Archaludon. Again, just like clicking Earthquake into your own Archaludon. It's not very strong. Again, you can also click Earthquake next to Pelipper. But this is the Banded Poliwrath set with the Haze over here. So Ice Punch coverage, great into all the dragons running around. Garchomp is 4 times weak to Ice. Dragonite's 4 times weak to Ice. Dragapult is only one type, one stage weak to Ice. But again, you know, you still have Liquidation. You still have the fighting coverage in close combat instead of Drain Punch, right? So Poliwrath looking pretty cool as a niche option moving forward. If you want to variance, in terms of your Archaludon Rain teams a little bit, you know, you can definitely consider the Poliwrath over the Basculegion. But, you know, to each their own. The Basculegion has its own tools, you know, with that choice band idea. But the Wrath actually has an idea here within right now in the meta right now. The Delphox Psyspam variants are also an interesting team to use right now. Again, they're going to have a common formula where you still have, the Sneasler on those teams, but those Sneaslers are the Terra Dark options. So it looks like this. You still have the Indeedee, whether it be male or female. You have a Tailwind Center, whether it be the Whimsicott or the Murkrow. You have the Sneasler over here with the Terra Dark option. And then, again, like I said, Throat Chop here with the Unburden idea with the the Psychic Seeds. And then from here, you have a couple of ways of looking at it, besides the Delphox. Depending on what kind of pieces you want, you can do the Mousehold idea, you could do the Dragapult idea, you can do both, right? So if we take a look here, this one features another interesting idea with the Archaludon Dragapult combination. Again, another double Dragon Core team, and we'll speak about this in a second, but look at this. You still have the Murkrow here clicking Sunny Day, the Delphox here clicking Expanding Force and whatnot, the Indeedee here also giving you the Imprison Trick Room option for the Delphox. And then at the end of the day, you can add the Archaludon here with the Power Herb idea, and then that gives you access to Protect. So this is pretty cool in essence, right? I like this 5 because, again, this is like one of our rentals too. This last option here, you could put the Mousehold here with Population Bomb if you like. You don't have to, but it still like makes sense. Or you can go a different direction, with your last slot here. But I like that in terms of an idea. This one, again, like this one, right? The Annihilate idea with the Mousehold. This is still like okay. If you don't want to use a Dragapult, like this is still like also fine because you can still lead Mousehold, Annihilate, make them guess whether it be, beat up stuff or maybe just regular bulk up. And then you still have the Size Spam mode over here at the end of the day, right? So, lots of different ways you can play this, but I think at the heart of the core, this is what you want. And then after this, you can add the Dragapult. I like the Pult, but this last slot here, it's up for grabs, but at least start with this 5 if you want to use something like this. It's pretty strong, so just consider it. Double Dragon Cores are still looking very, very strong right now. And again, if you still need something for Louisville and you don't want to play Archaludon Rain, you don't want to play P2 Balance, you can definitely play Double Dragon Cores. And Garchomp and Dragonite are at the head of the helm here, right? So remember what Paul Chua brought into the finals at Baltimore. That team is still running around like crazy. But again, the whole idea is you have Earthquake from the Garchomp here, which works well with Dragonite because you're a flying type and you can still do pressure with the Dragonite, so you do some spread damage, then you do some single target damage with the Dragonite, and it's looking pretty good. It's not the only double Dragon Core that you can look at. I have seen, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, you can do Garchomp, Archaludon, and have Pelipper at its core. So now again, you can Earthquake next to a flying type, which is the Archaludon. I'm sorry, the Pelipper, and then the Arc can go Terra Grass here, and then even just take that Earthquake relatively well. And if it already has a couple boosts already, then that Earthquake is just not going to be doing that much damage anyway. But the whole idea is you hit yourself when you're Terra Grass, not doing much damage. You get a defense boost, and now you self-proc the stamina boost, and now you have a good, strong body press, right? So this is another way that you can consider it. Then you could even do something like this, where you have Dragapult, Archaludon over here. And again, we mentioned this a little bit before. There's some decent synergy because, again, if you want to click a fighting type move into the Archaludon, you can kind of switch it out and go into your Dragapult. And now that move gets whiffed because obviously you can't click a fighting type attack into a ghost type. Same thing here where, you know, you can kind of just dodge the dark type attacks. Just switching your Archaludon takes it relatively decently, of course, right? So, you know, just think of it like that, and even like the ice type attacks. Archaludon can still take it neutrally, you know, because again, you still have the Assault Vest at the end of the day, so it's not bad at the end of the day, right? So I like this. This is also pretty cool, and you know, we've seen all these cores. So if we just take a look at the tour, like I'll click Garchomp here. Look at this, Garchomp, Archaludon from Saint. This is actually triple dragon, okay, which is kind of funny in itself. But this is triple dragon with Garchomp, Archaludon, and D-Knight over here, which is kind of... But look at this D-Knight set. This is a Tailwind D-Knight set because there's no Pelipper here. So you need something to give you speed control. You have Archaludon and Goldengo. So might as well just put it on the D-Knight. It's Lumberry over here. So that's okay. You can't get burned and whatnot. But this is a Snarl Body Press Archaludon with Pulse and Electro Shot. It's Terra Fairy, so it's not actually Terra Grass. So that's still like okay because you still have Friend Guard with the Mousehold. You know, you're still doing Population Bomb stuff. You know, to just get this thing to max +6. You can even just consider it like that at the end of the day. So this is also one idea. And again, as I move forward, like we already showed you the Poliwrath team here. This one's another one that we showed you earlier. Again, like Chomp, D-Knight, and then here's the Talonflame Goldengo. We know this core. There's the Vivian. We spoke about this earlier. But this is the Palchua variant, right? Where you have Chomp and D-Knight with the Ninetales, but no Auroraville, right? They have other options with Encore, but this guy actually changed the set here. He actually went Specs Ninetales. I don't know if we want that, but it still works because Freeze Dry is really, really good right now, along with Blizzard. So consider that as a starting point, and then of course the Kingambit stuff. But, you know, if I even just switch this to, for example, the Arc, and then just look at the Dragapult idea, like we saw this earlier from Banana Free, this will still work at the end of the day, right? So I do like looking at Dragapult, Archaludon stuff. I still think that's also pretty solid, you know, so you can just think of it like that. But again, hopefully some of those cores just make sense, and you pick one of those double dragon cores, and you do fine with it. And you can even use our rental, right? So don't forget, we even put out a rental with this idea. So, you know, just to show you the 6, and if you want to grab it, you can. It already got top 8 in one tournament already because someone was using it in a local. Thank you, Philip. But it was basically this. You had Garchomp here. You had the D-Knight. Okay. Then we had the Amoonguss over here. And then now we just surrounded, not the Amoonguss, I'm sorry. We had the Sinistcha along with the Primarina, right? So this was like, in essence, the heart of the team. Then we add the Kingambit because, again, you know, with Chomp being Life Orb now, instead of Clear Amulet, we can get Intimidated. But if we just add the Kingambit over here, then we're like kind of totally fine. So you can just do it like that. So you can discourage Intimidates onto the Garchomp, and then the Sinistcha and Primarina, they just come in and do the job that they need to do. So you can even pick up this rental on our channel if you want to try out another kind of double dragon core that has already been proven and has already had a tournament result. So consider that. Okay, the Sneasler Balance stuff is also still like pretty good, and you already know like the common 6. The only variance is like, you know, Electabuzz versus Magmar, or maybe Dragapult does not come and you put something else. But look at McKelder's team here. This 6 is actually one of our rentals too, just, you know, slight variance in the EV spreads and the item choices. But again, Sneasler, Dragapult, great together because again, weak to dark types, weak to fairy types. Sneasler can kind of just destroy that with a fighting move and a poison move. And then over here, look, you're getting a Magmar here with Follow Me and Will-O-Wisp. The Kingambit stuff, of course, Discourage. the Intimidate stuff into the Sneasler, and then Primarine and Rillaboom just kind of round out your Fire Water Grass core over here. This is still going to be good leading into that, so expect to deal with Sneasler. This is also why Garchomp is rising a little bit more, because again, you have the ground coverage for the Sneasler. You can break the sash if they click something into you, you know, because you have rough skin. So that's another thing that you can also look at. But, you know, you don't have to play that kind of way. You can like mix it up a little bit. So you can even opt for something like this, where you can go with Dragonite instead. And then you can have Clefable over here. Still makes sense. You know, you still have Gambit, Rillaboom, and Prim here. You're just varying up some of the pieces over here. But this is Scale Shot D-Knight. You know, I played against this in the video most recently in one of our battle videos. Like, Scale Shot D-Knight is something to consider. I wonder if that is going to rise a little bit more, because ironically enough, one of our viewers, Philip, who got top 8 with one of our double Dragon cores, ran into Scale Shot D-Knight, beat him in the Swiss, but then got taken out by it by the same team. So I wonder if Scale Shot D-Knight can make an impact moving forward. So don't be too surprised if you see that a little bit more later on. It's nice to see. Again, the defense drop is not great, but at the end of the day, if you have speed and if you have damage, then you're still like kind of chilling. So just consider that for what you will. But look at all the Sneasler Balance teams. They're more or less the same. That's the one I really wanted to highlight, because again, it had the Scale Shot Dragonite. So that's something to look at. But other than that, you know, it's still like pretty straightforward. Okay, we have to talk about this team, right? So Mr. Wolfe Glick and his crazy Perish Trap, No Guard, sheer cold strats. Like, some at first I thought I was like, is Mr. Wolfe memeing tonight? But like, again, only someone like Wolfe Glick can pilot a team like this. So basically there's two modes. I saw the stream. I didn't see everything, but I saw enough where I was like, yeah, oh man, this is kind of crazy. But the Perish Trap mode, so Gothitelle, you know, and Instant, double fake out pressure is important. And then, you know, just utilizing your protects to stall out the Perish timers is important, right? So again, with Shadow Tag, you can't switch out unless you're a ghost type, so you're kind of trapped in there. And from there, it's just all about pivoting and positioning, intimidating and weakening the opponent. You turning out just to keep cycling and stalling until you pick up the KOs that you need to KO. And then once there's 2 turns left, you click it again and the game is over, right? Because they can't switch anymore if there's only 2 options left. So it's a really useful tool, because if you're going up against something that can give you a tough time, like for example a Sneasler, and then just come in and just click fake out every now and then, just protect in front of it, and then it just dies, right? So that's one mode. Then you have the interesting No Guard mode with Golurk over here, which, by the way, is actually interesting just in terms of what we're getting out of this Pokemon here. I'm not saying this is going to break the meta by any means, and I'm not even saying this might be the right team for it, but if you just look at it, it's a little interesting. So the bulk is not bad. 89 HP, 80 defense, 80 speed def, and then 124 attack, not bad. Obviously, you can intimidate this thing, but if you have 55 speed, again, that's slow, but that's not quite slow enough, right? So you have to consider it like that. But ground ghost type, look, you can't get hit by these fighting moves coming around, you know, in the meta right now. And then at the same time, you have some pretty decent immunity against the Electro Shot from Archaludon. So you wall the Body Press, you wall the Electro Shot. That's 2 of Archaludon's moves right there that you can kind of wall. And then the Sneasler is going to have a hard time too, because you can't click Close Combat, and the Dire Claw is not great, but at the end of the day, it's not really doing a whole lot to Golurk, especially if they don't get any of those procs. But I'm not sure if you can really utilize this outside moving forward, because like I said, it's slow, but it's not slow enough. You can intimidate this thing, and you still have too many dark types and ghost types that are a little bit faster right now than the Golurk. But it is interesting in that sense. But at the end of the day, so the whole idea is, again, you're skill swapping with Bronzong and Clefable here with the No Guard stuff. And then the Lapras combines with No Guard, and then you just click Sheer Cold, 100% KOs. He's already got his team report in his video out, so you can go ahead and watch that. I won't speak any more on it, but it was just interesting to see. Like, again, 9-2 results. It's crazy. AV Incineroar. Wolfe continues to deny Incineroar, but he puts it on his team every single time, of course, because it's good, right? But this is also cool. This Bronzong set, Trick Room and Hypnosis and skill swaps, and no like quote-unquote attacking move. It's just there to be annoying, which is kind of interesting. And again, Dynamic Punch has 100% accuracy because again of no guard. So if you just curse things, they get chipped down, 25%. They can't switch out. You trap them with the Gothitelle Shadow Tag stuff. You set up Reflect. You set up your damage mitigations. And at the end of the day, the opponent's just going to be annoyed because they can't really do a whole lot against the Shadow Tag stuff. So pretty cool team. Shout out to Mr. Wolfe Glick for making something like this work. Do we still need to worry about Dondozo? That is the question. So you already know the common 6 right now with the Goldangle, the Dragonite stuff, and even the Palmont Revival. So this one was 8-3 from Colin Jacobson. Of course, the standard 6, I think we made this even as one of our rental because, again, we like Lamora so much. But there's so much haze and clear smog running around right now. It's tough to pilot Dondozo, but it's still like very, very good and oppressive. And you still have to respect it in your team building at the end of the day. But I think you'll still see more Dondozo heading into Louisville played like this, where they have the solo Dozo without the Tatsugiri, and then you're just doing yawn stuff along with the occasional fissure, right? So again, imagine the standard D-Pult Sneasler Balance, and instead of the Pre-Marina slot, we have an unaware Dondozo, just clicking yawn and putting things to sleep, making them switch out and whatnot. So I think you'll see a little bit more Dondozo like this more than anything versus the Tatsugiri stuff. But again, there's always going to be Dondozo Tatsugiri play. I just don't know if it's at a point right now where it can like really, really do well. But I do expect this kind of Dozo team to be okay. So I'll leave you with this. So what would be a Clover quote-unquote hot take right now? I think Sylveon could rise a bit in usage, especially this type of set here with Calm Mind, Terra Blast, Terra Fire. So if people want to keep playing the double Dragon Cores, then something like Sylveon could do really, really well, especially when you have like Terra Blast, Terra Fire, where you can nuke the Ninetales, you can nuke the King Gambit, you can nuke the Amoonguses. These are all things weak to fire. And then the Hyper Voice just demolishes Dragapults and Garchomps and Dragonites for whatever. You're forcing them to Terra at the end of the day. So you can think of it like that. Obviously, it's going to need some support at the end of the day. But, I do think this pressure, along with Calm Mind setup, if you just add something like an Amoonguss over here, and then maybe a Tailwind setup, like maybe Talonflame in this sense, and then you choose a different water type besides a Pre-Marina, then you still have your solid Fairy type. I think something like this can still be effective as the even against Annihilate too, right? So something like this could be pretty good. You just have to be aware of how you position this Sylveon. But if people are going to keep playing the Sneasler Balance stuff, and then at the same time, if they want to keep playing the double dragons, I think more fairies are going to try and come out to play. And I think Sylveon has a chance now. So consider that for what you will. But anyway, we'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one, guys.